Hey guys, as I promised, this is my video about the Kerrang tour that I went to, the Kerrang tour 2016, and so I'll just say a bit about the concert and what it was like and what the bands were like, and then I'll have some photos that I took when I was at the concert. So I'm doing that, but for any other copyright, all the photos were taken by me. I didn't take, I'm not putting in any photos that anyone else took, because, you know, what's the point of me showing my experience of the concert if I'm putting things from other people's experiences? But anyway, so yeah, I shall start talking now about the concert. Because I was so excited and I wanted to get near the front, I turned up for the concert at 3 o'clock, bearing in mind the doors don't open until 7. So that was 4 hours. It was pretty cold and it started trying to rain at a few points. But literally, my boyfriend and I were like not even 10th in the queue. There were probably like 4 groups of people in front of us. So we got right to the front, literally at the barriers. And yeah, that was exciting. It's always exciting to be at the front of a concert, because then like the band members are more likely to notice you and you get an uninterrupted view other than from the photographers that come in. But still, yeah, so it was that. The first bands that played were Biters. I have heard of them, and I didn't realise until they started playing that I had heard one of their songs before, but I didn't really listen to them. But they were really good. They had such a good stage presence, and I recommend going to see them, especially if you like them. I mean, they were so good with the audience, and they would invite audience members up onto the stage to drink with them, and they were just messing about with people, like with the members, audience members. It was to the point where they was talking to this guy and they were asking everyone what their names were. He said, "Oh yeah," and you could tell that the person that they'd brought up onto the stage only said their name. He was like, "And this man here is called," I can't remember what his name was, "and he's looking for a beautiful lady to drink with," and then pointed at this guy in the audience and went, "Beautiful lady there, I do love your beard, it makes you even more of a beautiful lady." And that was hilarious. It's probably not even as hilarious watching it, but I found it hilarious at the time, and that all of the audience were laughing. It was just, they were so good at being up on the stage and performing. They put on such a good show and interacted with the audience really, really well. And also during this set, a guy came out and he didn't quite stage dive. I mean, he did, but in a huge blow up boat. Like, it was huge. It was so funny, except for the fact that the boat literally landed right on my head as he threw it in and jumped on it, because I was right at the front, so I was right underneath it. So I was like, "Hide! No, there's this boat!" And it was kind of heavy when you have a boat and a person land on your head. And it was mostly on my head because he almost fell back down the side of the barrier. So it was literally just balancing on my head and the arms of a couple of people behind me. And then the security had to push him in because he literally almost fell off, which would have been hilarious. But it was still balancing on my head, which was also hilarious. Except for when I got a headache later on. But still, like, what's the point of going to a concert, especially a rock concert, if you don't get injured or anything like that at all? But yeah, so there was that, and then there were Rome, and out of all the bands, Rome were my least favourite. I mean, they were good, but I didn't enjoy their music as much, and their stage presence wasn't as great as that of other people. Like, they were really hilarious. They kept making jokes and stuff up on the stage, but like, I'm not saying they were bad, and I'm not saying don't go and see them. It was my personal opinion that they were the least good of everyone that performed. am allowed to have my own opinion, so don't take that to heart, and don't take what I'm saying as, oh my god, they're really, really bad, because they weren't, but they were in comparison, if that kind of makes sense. Yeah, so then next came Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes, and they put on an amazing show. They really did. They kept getting interactive with the audience. Mr. Frank Carter kept stage diving. Well, he did it once, and then he was literally singing while walking on the hands of the audience. It was so funny, and I think I've got a few photos of it, but they were literally holding his feet and his ankles, and he was just walking around while singing. And I've seen stage dives before. I've been involved in stage, like, I haven't stage dived, but I've had people coming over me in a stage dive before, but I've never seen anyone quite that much walking around on people's hands. Like, how he didn't fall over or mess up any of his lyrics, I actually do not know. But still, yeah, there was an amazing show. And I mean, at one point he got into the crowd. He literally parted the crowd, walked through them, and then got the people around him to sit down. All the lights turned out, so it was dark, but like the torches on people's phones were on. So that was literally the only light you could see, other than like the emergency exit lights, but they always have to be on. And he started singing this slow song, and it was so amazing. The whole mood of the room completely changed. And yeah, it was almost magical how he completely transformed the room just to perform that song, and then went back to jumping up on stage and running around and just partying, basically. And yeah, he was taking like selfies into the audience as well. He was like taking a selfie, like, yeah, point at me, and he was like, everyone stick your middle finger up like this. And so we all stuck our middle finger up like that, and he was taking photos of us with our middle fingers up just because he thought it was hilarious, basically. And the other thing I'm going to say about them, the last thing, is he was getting the audience involved in the lines of the song that he played last. And the lines of the song that he was getting everyone to sing is, I hate you and I wish you were dead. And I have never seen anyone more happy to have hundreds of people tell them that they hate him and wish he was dead. He looked so proud of himself and so happy. I'm like, okay. But so that's what everyone was singing to him, and he was so happy. He was just looking at it like, yeah, look, I made them do this. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, so they're definitely worth checking out. Their music is amazing, and if you want to go and see them live, I highly recommend it, because they really did put on a good show. I think they put on the second best show, followed by Biters and then Rome, but the best show was Sum 41, which is probably a lot of prejudice because I loved them. I didn't, like, I'd listened to some of the other music of the other bands, but it was Sum 41 that I'm obsessed with. It's Sum 41 that I went to see. So it was Sum 41 that I saw. That kind of makes sense, obviously. But they were amazing. They came on, they performed. They performed a lot longer than they were supposed to. Yeah, they were supposed to finish at about 11:15. They didn't end up finishing until about 11:20. But oh, it was still, they still did an amazing set. They were getting people involved, and they were just like waving at the audience and like making a point of noticing the audience was there. And they invited some people up onto the stage with them, and unfortunately there was a girl who was next to me whose boyfriend got brought up onto the stage, but the security weren't letting her out, even though it was said that they were both to go up on stage by the band. But anyway, she was really upset because she was still stuck in the audience and wasn't able to go up on stage. She didn't, like, her phone had run out of battery, so she couldn't contact her boyfriend. They kept pointing and trying to gesture to the security to get her up on stage, and I thought that was really good. They had hundreds of people they were playing to, and then playing is obviously important. That's the whole point of everyone being there. But they had noticed that there was this girl who was getting really upset and were trying to get her up on stage. And I just thought that was amazing. A lot of bands wouldn't even have noticed, and if they did, they probably would have just overlooked it. But anyway, they were awesome about it. She didn't end up getting up on stage, but they tried. And anyway, they put on a good show, and I loved it, and they played some good music. And yeah, it was such an amazing night, and I highly recommend to anyone who wants to go see them to go see them. And I'm going to say goodbye now, like I usually do, but after I'm going to have photos and stuff for the concert, so you guys can see the night. And if you're like, oh yeah, she's doing that to just show off, I'm not. I'm showing you guys what it was like, so for people who couldn't make it, they can kind of experience it through someone else's experience, and also they can kind of gauge whether they want to go or not by how the bands looked when they were performing and stuff. But I promise you the photos and stuff won't be very long. But yeah, I'll leave you with them now. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you went to the concert, or if you've ever been to see any of those bands or anything. You know, I really don't mind. And leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and please subscribe if you've enjoyed all my videos. Thank you guys for watching.